Hello. My name is Melanie Turbovic, and my pronouns are she, her. As we light our chalice today, we stand together, bound to one another and all living things in an interconnected web of the Spirit of life. While Master Yoda was not a UU, we may be able to claim him as one of our teachers in both the nature of the Spirit of life and of the Force. He says, "Life creates it, makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us and binds us. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. You must feel the force around you, here, between you, me, the tree, the rock, everywhere." Our church shares a covenant that we make with one another, a promise that helps to remind us of why we gather and how we want to be with one another. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in saying our covenant together. We unite to strengthen the bonds of kinship among all persons, to promote human dignity, and to increase reverence for life's sustaining, and transforming power through worship, study, and service. Please be seated.
Good morning. My name is Elizabeth Van Orden. My pronouns are she and her. And in addition to co-leading worship this morning, I am also a member of your Board of Trustees. And not that long ago, in a UU temple not far, far away, many of us gathered to celebrate the ordination of Reverend Dr. Emma Farrell. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome them for their first Sunday with us here at CCUU as our minister. Rev. Dr. Emma comes to ministry by way of science and education and brings a deep commitment to relationship, curiosity, justice, and shared ministry. As a member of the search committee, I've had the opportunity to learn more about them and was so impressed by the depth of their spirituality, deep listening skills, and commitment to pastoral care, their kind spirit, and their quick wit and strong sense of humor. I don't need to do a blood test to test their midichlorians, but I know that the force is very strong in them. They've said that one of their first priorities here is simply to get to know us, to learn our stories, what we love about CCUU, and what hopes we carry for its future. Rev. Dr. Emma will lead worship at the in-gathering on September 13th, but today we get to begin this new relationship and new ministry together. So please join us for the potluck after service to help welcome Rev. Dr. Emma and get to know one another. I don't think anyone brought blue milk, but there may be some blue mac and cheese, and I hope no one brought roasted pork, but that's probably for the best. So I'm going to ask you now to imagine one of those Star Wars wipe transitions as we go into the call to worship. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, everyday people of many species, human and many others, saw their fundamental rights erode under the insidious rise of power-hungry individuals. The rise was slow, steady, and stealthy. Ecosystems were wiped out to obtain resources. Cultures and identities were erased. Innocent people were imprisoned for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And to speak out against the powers became increasingly dangerous. Frankly, this story could happen in any galaxy at any time, and we see it happening around us all the time and every day. When most people think about Star Wars, images of the Sith and Jedi immediately come to mind. The Jedi and the good side of the Force prevailed over the evil Sith Lords, and everyone is free! Exclamation point. Right? Well, maybe. If the strong Force users, good and bad, were the deciding factors in the fate of the galaxy, why were they forgotten within their own lifetimes? I mean, how much time really passed between Return of the Jedi and the sequel trilogy? 30 years, maybe? Yet, when Rey meets Han Solo, she doesn't believe in the Jedi or the Force, and he replies that he used to think it was a bunch of mumbo-jumbo. a magical power holding together good and evil, the dark side and the light. The crazy thing is, it's true. The Jedi, the Force, all of it, it's all true. Han Solo is and was an unlikely disciple. But let's take a step way back and start looking at the galaxy a little bit more critically. How many everyday people note lightsabers, choose sides? Who built the infrastructure that allowed this to happen? Who made the weapons? Who flew the planes? Who was running intelligence in the rebellion? While the epic battles between the space monks and masked and cloaked bad guys are an utter delight for the imagination, the battles for social and environmental justice were always run because of the everyday folks. Folks at every midichlorian level chose to rebel and to resist.
My name is Christian Van Orden. My pronouns are he, him, and I invite the young and young at heart to come up and guess what's in the Wonder Box today and gather for a message for all ages.
Come on. This one's fun, you guys.
You could be young at heart.
There's no young at heart Star Wars fans.
I know we brought, there's some Grogu's. He's the child.
What do you guys think is in the box?
Probably something Star Wars related.
Yeah, makes sense.
Baby Yoda.
Maybe.
Something.
A squirrel.
A lightsaber? That was my guess. Was it?
Maybe. I guess we'll just
I
have
have
to.
another guess. Air molecules.
Well, I guess we'll just have to find out. I choose you. What's your name? Tyler. Why don't you open the box?
It's something Star Wars related. I knew it. Me.
But wait, there's more.
There's more.
There's more. But wait, there's more.
Something else, maybe? Air molecules.
Are you sure there's nothing else in there?
Wait.
Wait.
What's that?
Why don't you show everyone?
What's that? Some sort of rock. Is it a kyber crystal?
Can you hold it up? That's exactly correct. It is a kyber crystal. And fun fact, we weren't sure whether squirrels lived on any of the planets in the Star Wars galaxy, but Ewoks are pretty cute. They throw a good party, and this one fit in the box. With our Ewok, we have kyber crystals. Does anybody know what they are and what they're used for?
For making lightsabers?
It's true. They are used for making lightsabers. Luke Skywalker said, kyber crystals are rare gems capable of focusing and amplifying energy. They can be found on planets that have a high natural concentration of force energy, such as Jedha and Ilum. We brought enough to share if you'd like a kyber crystal of your own and to focus and amplify the energy of the force in you.
I don't know what this is.
It's quartz, but it's a kyber crystal.
Yeah, it makes sense. I got this tiny crystal.
Yes.
Well, while you guys are getting those crystals, good morning. My name is Debbie Lee. My pronouns are she and her. And I am going to read the message for all ages, which, surprisingly enough, is Star Wars related. Today's book is A Galaxy for Everyone by Lois Evans. There we go. Illustrated by Chris Kennett, Alan Batson, and Pilot Studio. There are billions in the galaxy, and all of them are different. Some are small, like Yoda, and others are big, like Chewbacca the Wookiee. Some are covered in long, thick fur, and others have no hair at all. Some have 2 arms. Some have 4 arms, and some have wings. Some are very young, some are very old. Maz Kanata lived for more than 1,000 years. These beings call all sorts of planets home too. Some live in hot, dry places like Tatooine. Others live in cold and snowy climates. You could be a Jedi Knight, a guardian of the justice and peace, or a stormtrooper. Finn left the First Order to join the Resistance. It doesn't matter if you're a queen, like Padme Amidala, or a scavenger, like Rey. Everyone can make a difference in their own way. Admiral Akbar was a leader in the rebellion and the resistance, when Mim Nam and Ul Etzi were loyal pilots who followed orders. It doesn't matter if things seem hopeless or you are feeling frightened. What matters most is having hope and always trying to do what's right. The Force is in all of us, no matter where we come from or what we look like. Everyone can do their part to make the galaxy a better place. And with that I say, may the Force be with you all.
We give to sustain and support our physical church and beloved church community. We will now receive the morning offering.
Today's meditation comes from the Rebel Manifesto of Karis Nemec, a character in Andor who bravely died during a successful mission to secure funding for the rebellion against the growing threat of the Empire. There will be times when the struggle seems impossible. I know this already. Alone, unsure, dwarfed by the scale of the enemy, remember this. Freedom is a pure idea. It occurs spontaneously and without instruction. Random acts of insurrection are occurring constantly throughout the galaxy. There are whole armies, battalions that have no idea they've already enlisted in the cause. Remember that for the frontier of the rebellion is everywhere, and even the smallest act of insurrection pushes our lines forward. And then remember this: the imperial need for control is so desperate because it is so unnatural. Tyranny requires constant effort. It breaks, it leaks. Authority is brittle. Oppression is the mask of fear. Remember that. There will be times when the struggle seems impossible. I know this already. Freedom is a pure idea. It occurs spontaneously and without instruction. Random acts of insurrection are occurring constantly. Remember this. Tyranny requires constant effort. And know this: the day will come when all these skirmishes and battles, these moments of defiance, will have flooded the banks of the Empire's authority, and then there will be one too many. One single thing will break the siege. Remember this. Try.
Good morning. Whoops. Here we go. My name is Ellen Pinzani. My pronouns are she and her, and I am a lay pastoral care minister here. Each Sunday, we share joys and concerns so that we may show our support and strengthen the bonds of kinship among us. Let us know if you have something you wish to be included or could benefit from our support. There is a link on the church website and in the weekly e-news, or contact the Reverend Dr. Emma or any of the lay ministers or the church office. Gary and Robin Lebeds are very excited to share that they are in Washington, D.C. this weekend because their daughter got married yesterday. Their daughters, Laura and Adam Kobler, were married in a simple ceremony attended by close family and friends. And we wish them many years of love and happiness. Bailey Pierce, Bailey, you here? No, there she is, shares the very happy news that after 10 months of job searching, she has been promoted to Technical Services Associate at Schaumburg Library. And this is in addition to her work with Mari Van Meter in her realty office. Bailey extends her heartfelt thanks to everyone who has supported and encouraged her in this journey, and we're glad with you that it's over. For these and the unspoken joys and concerns that remain in your heart, know that we honor them.
Good morning, I'm Jack. My pronouns are he and him, and as we just saw, Marva's biggest regret, the biggest takeaway from that monologue, was that she didn't wake up earlier. The Star Wars universe doesn't just rely on superpowered space monks to confront the types of issues that we also see in our world. While Marva and Nemec are fictional characters in a television show, they were created by real people to reflect the kinds of things that we may experience in our own lives. Across all of human history, we've collectively created, adapted, and shared stories through time and space. These stories explain not only why things are, or perhaps why they came to be, but also have become an ancestral part of the human tapestry of life, part of our collective consciousness. Stories comfort us when we are sad. They recount brave adventures. They speak of love and passion. They spark imagination, and they define cultural identity. While Star Wars takes place in a world that is completely foreign to us, they're still stories that are written by humans. And at the heart of nearly all of these stories lies a question that humanity has wrestled with for just as long. What do we do when power is used to dominate others? Do we submit to it, or do we resist it? And if we choose resistance, where does the power to resist arise from? If we want to understand how Star Wars answers these questions, the most obvious place is to begin with the Jedi and the Sith. Ages before the dawn of the Republic, the saga of these two orders began with the discovery of the Force. The Force, an all-encompassing energy field, much like our spirit of life, binds the entire universe into a single, interconnected web. Similar to many ancient beliefs and religions, this connection was first explored by ancient mystics and scholars in the Star Wars universe, and they shared their wisdom across the stars, leading to the eventual formation of the Jedi Order. These guardians committed themselves to peace, to knowledge, and to the selfless harmony of the light. George Lucas described the Jedi as warrior monks who keep peace in the universe. That said, a deep schism emerged when others were seduced by that self-serving, aggressive nature of the dark side, splintering off to become the Sith. This divide sparked a millennia-long cycle of resistance and conflict, where the call of collective responsibility constantly struggled against the temptation of absolute individual power, forever altering the destiny of the cosmos. It's the familiar conflict between good and evil, light and dark, gods and monsters. The epic clashes and whirring of glowing lightsabers and grand cinematic battles waged between deity-level Force users is mesmerizing. But that's only part of the story. As we reflect on the vastness of the Force that binds all living things together, it is not a magic trick reserved for the select few. It is an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us, it penetrates us, and it binds the galaxy together. It is in everyone, and it is in everything. We don't have to live in the Star Wars universe to incorporate this mythos into our own spiritual lives. While Star Wars and Unitarian Universalism speak different languages, both point toward an intangible, life-giving connection that binds us to one another and calls us beyond ourselves. It is that invisible, persistent current of love, compassion, and justice that flows through humanity. It is the deep baseline frequency of the universe that reminds us that we do not exist in isolation. Like the Force, this spirit doesn't control our choice. It simply offers a connection. It is a reminder that when we care for one another, when we stand up for the vulnerable, we are tapping into a reservoir of collective energy that is much larger than ourselves. Within that vast sci-fi galaxy connected by the Force, the statistical prevalence of highly trained Force users, the Jedi and the Sith, is staggeringly small, 1 in trillions small. The overwhelming majority of the galactic population would never encounter a Jedi or a Sith at all, let alone hear tales of how light opposes dark and how this struggle has lasted for countless millennia. While this may seem to undermine the heroic deeds of folks like Luke Skywalker, Rey, or Ahsoka Tano, and many, many more, what it actually provides us with is an opening. In the vast majority of the Star Wars universe, people live their daily lives much like we do. They love, they grieve, they share, they take, they help one another, they fight, and they try to keep the peace. They make decisions about what they need to do to survive. And in the course of all of these lives, stories of the Jedi and the Sith have become legends and myths, much like our tales of Odysseus, of Gilgamesh, and of the shipwrecked sailor. Much of us, the inhabitants of the Star Wars universe, must rely upon themselves and each other for help. And like us, they can be oppressed by systems larger than any single individual. When this happens, when forces of darkness conspire to enslave and control, people simply can't wait and count on Force-empowered heroes to save them. They must rely upon themselves and each other.
Last summer, I laughed at Rev. Scott Childs' service seeking a seat on a flying saucer. Like him, I wistfully hope that some intelligent race of aliens will take me away from this galaxy many days. he rightfully concluded that this was not likely going to happen, and there isn't some race of aliens out there coming to rescue us from the political, economic, social justice, environmental, etc. crises that we've created. And if they did, would we wind up somewhere like Tatooine? My brain goes to these sorts of rabbit holes when I read the news, but like the non-Superforce users of the Star Wars universe, I know I can't wait for a compassionate alien, Jedi or otherwise, to take pity on me. As long as the spirit of life, the Force is in me, in all of us, we need to do our part to heal this world. So let's put down the lightsabers and lore and take a few notes from some of the everyday heroes in Star Wars who also weren't just going to sit around waiting to be rescued. Before the Empire was the Empire, it was a democracy. Galactic senators like Admiral Amidala and Bail Organa spoke up against the evils of the growing fascism spearheaded by Palpatine. While all the senators with ties to the Skywalker kids are tantalizing, the most interesting of the pacifists and vocal opponents of Palpatine and the Empire is Mon Mothma. Well, at least to me. Her family was wealthy and powerful. She could have easily, very easily, turned the other way, like so many in her position do, to stay comfortable, to stay safe. Why rock the boat? If the system is working for you, if it's made for you. It's as if she heard a phrase whispered across the multiverse, blockbuster conglomerate, that with great power comes great responsibility. Jack and I debated whether to play this video clip. As I mentioned, we talked back and forth about when we could say things and when we should have clips. But from the second season of Andor, I think it was really important to recite her words in my voice as they ring so true to me, as they ring true in the Star Wars galaxy, and they are so pertinent right here and right now today. As many call her affectionately, Double M said, "I stand before you this morning with a heavy heart. Through these many years, I believe I have served my constituents honorably and upheld our code of conduct. This chamber is a cauldron of opinions, and we've certainly all had our patience and tempers tested in pursuit of our ideals. Disagree as we might, I am hopeful that those of you who know me will vouch for my credibility in the days to come. I stand this morning with a difficult message. I believe we are in crisis. The distance between what is said and what is known to be true has become an abyss. Of all the things at risk, the loss of an objective reality is perhaps the most dangerous. The death of truth is the ultimate victory of evil. When truth leaves us, when we let it slip away, when it is ripped from our hands, we become vulnerable to the appetite of whatever monster screams or tweets the loudest.
The speech that Elizabeth just shared with us was the last one that Mon Mothma gave to the Imperial Senate. She voluntarily gave up her position of status and wealth, a job where she'd worked tirelessly for decades, refusing, resisting, and ultimately rebelling against the idea that absolute power made the empire right, never accepting that standing up for what she believed in for others wouldn't change anything. Following her speech, rebel fighters extracted her from Coruscant, home of the Imperial Senate and formerly the Jedi Temple, and helped her escape to safety, where she would continue to help coordinate the growing rebellion. Mon Mothma sacrificed her life with her husband and daughter and she gave up the comforts of wealth and privilege that she had enjoyed her entire life. While that might sound like an overly extreme scenario written for a fictional story, it also bears striking similarities to real people who have faced similar and very real dangers. Mon Mothma realized that comfort is not the same thing as safety, and discomfort isn't necessarily the same thing as danger. In the Star Wars universe, the Empire isn't frightening just because it's violent. It's frightening because people gradually begin to accept it. One restriction, one indignity, one injustice, or one compromise is all it can take to let those injustices take root. The Sith didn't build this Death Star or the Empire on their own. They relied on fear, on violence, and on slave labor to do it. Similarly, the Jedi didn't save the galaxy on their own. They relied on everyday folks like you and me to speak out against the forces of darkness. Han Solo, Cassian Andor, and countless others in the galaxy didn't rely on using the Force to change the world. Rather, it is the interconnected nature of the Force that brought them together. Most of them started out by trying to go it alone. Solitude is literally built into Han Solo's name. But each realized that they needed to build community and work with others who felt the same way to dismantle systems of oppression. When George Lucas made the original Star Wars film, he wasn't trying to change the world. Instead, he wanted to share some of the things he loved from the films he watched growing up, like Flash Gordon, samurai stories, and spaghetti westerns. But he also wanted to speak out about things he strongly disagreed with, like war and dictatorships. And he found a way to do that through ideas like the Force and how people successfully resist authoritarianism. Today, Unitarian Universalism, like the Force, brings us together to share in the spirit of life. And like the rebellion, we are actively choosing to care for each other, and we refuse to compromise our beliefs. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." By choosing action and participation, we're refusing to let apathy or indifference win. This is the way. Resistance is profoundly individual in its decision and profoundly collective in its power. Individuals have the choice to act, but they must do it knowing that they may never know what their contribution will mean. Remember this: try. And may the Force be with you.
Please join me in saying our closing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of its truth, the warmth